Welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here today. Think about the classroom you're going to walk into one day, or maybe you're already in one. You'll have a whiteboard, a teacher station, desks arranged just so, maybe a cozy corner for small group work. All of those physical spaces matter, but what fills those spaces, how you teach, matters even more. Today we're going to talk about moving from teaching on instinct to teaching with structural certainty. We're going to build your foundation in evidence-based practices, or EBPs, so that when you step into your future classroom, you're not guessing, you're knowing. Let's get started. Here's something I want you to sit with for a moment. Teachers have limited instructional time. Every minute counts. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. If a doctor told you that you had a serious illness, and they offered you 2 treatments, treatment A has been through rigorous research, works for most people most of the time, and is rated as very effective. Treatment B has been used in only 1 or 2 studies, is supported mostly by anecdotal reports, and is only rated as moderately effective. Which would you choose? I think we all know the answer. Here's the thing. Education is no different. Our students deserve the same scientific rigor that we demand for our own healthcare. When we choose how to teach, we are choosing a treatment. Let's make sure we're choosing the right one. So what is an evidence-based practice, exactly? This is one of my favorite things to clarify, because there's a common misconception. An EBP is not a rigid script you follow step by step. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula. It's actually a decision-making process, and it rests on 3 interconnected pillars. Take a look at this diagram. True evidence-based practice lives at the intersection of best available research, strategies proven to work through experimental or large-scale field studies, professional wisdom, your training, your expertise, your assessment of what's happening in your classroom, and family values and student needs, the demographics, circumstances, and context of the individual learners in front of you. When all 3 of these overlap, that's your EBP sweet spot. That's where you want to be. Now, not all evidence is created equal. This slide gives us a really helpful way to think about that. There are 4 levels of educational evidence, and it's worth knowing where a practice lands before you commit to it. At the top, we have evidence-based practices, backed by multiple high-quality studies, clearly linked to improvement and reviewed by reputable organizations. These are your gold standard. Then we have promising practices. They show positive effects, but the research base isn't quite there yet. Worth watching, but not yet proven. Research-based practices have been studied, but the results are mixed. Some studies say yes, some say no. Proceed with thoughtfulness. And at the bottom, emerging practices. Only anecdotal evidence, no rigorous research yet. These might be exciting and new, but they're still unproven. As you develop your practice, you'll want to always ask, where does this strategy fall on this hierarchy? I love this framing from Dr. Brian Cook, and I think it will stick with you too. He asks, why would you make a 50-50 bet when you don't have to? An evidence-based practice represents roughly a 90-10ths bet, meaning you have about a 90% chance of that practice actually working for your students. Think about what that means in your classroom. 3 powerful reasons to commit to EBPs. First, they guarantee a higher likelihood of positive student outcomes. That's ultimately why we're all here. Second, they help you avoid wasting precious time and resources chasing educational fads. We've all seen them come and go. EBPs cut through the noise. And third, and this is important, they meet federal mandates. Both ESSA and IDEA require the use of evidence-based practices. This isn't just good teaching, it's the law. This is where things get really practical. Think of your classroom as a building under construction. EBPs show up in 3 distinct ways. The foundation is your curricula, the high-quality, daily instructional materials that every student accesses. Think science of reading-based literacy programs. This is what every student stands on. The pillars are your interventions. Targeted, proven strategies for students who need extra support to get back on track. These are your supports for learners who are struggling. And the scaffolding is your professional development, the ongoing training that helps you grow more confident and effective in deploying these research-based tools. All 3 of these work together. A strong building needs all of them. Now let's zoom in on the practices themselves. Research points to 8 core evidence-based teaching practices that, when used intentionally, can transform learning outcomes. At the center of it all are digitally enabled, evidence-based teaching practices. A reminder that technology, used well, can amplify every one of these strategies. Surrounding that center, we have peer collaboration, students learning from and with each other. Active learning, keeping students engaged as participants, not passive listeners. Metacognition and self-regulated learning, helping students understand how they learn. Assess and activate prior knowledge, building bridges between what students know and what's new. Instructional transparency, being clear about what students are learning and why. Data-informed instruction, letting student data guide your teaching decisions. Fostering a sense of belonging through an inclusive learning environment. Every student deserves to feel they belong in your classroom. Formative practice and assessment. Checking for understanding along the way, not just at the end. These aren't isolated tricks. They work together, reinforcing one another every day. So you found a practice you're excited about. How do you know it's actually valid? Here's your 3-pillar test. Pillar 1. Sound research design. Does the study compare outcomes of students who received the strategy against similar students who didn't? Good research design is the foundation of credible evidence. Pillar 2. High-quality data analysis. Were the data carefully collected, stored, and rigorously examined? If the numbers weren't handled with care, the conclusions can't be trusted. Pillar 3. Peer review. Was the study published in a reputable journal where other researchers could scrutinize the methods and replicate the findings in other settings? All 3 pillars need to be standing. If one is missing, approach the evidence with healthy skepticism. Here's some good news. You don't have to dig through mountains of raw research literature on your own. That would be a full-time job. Instead, lean on trusted agencies that have done the synthesis work for you. Your go-to resources are What Works Clearinghouse, WWC, housed at the U.S. Department of Education. It produces practice guides and intervention reports you can actually use in your planning. Iris Center, based at Peabody College at Vanderbilt University. It specializes in synthesizing EBPs for special education and inclusive classrooms. Specialized centers, organizations like the Center on Instruction, Child Trends, and the Promising Practices Network, round out your toolkit. Bookmark these. They are your professional lifelines. Finding an EBP is just the beginning. The next step is asking, does this actually fit my students and my setting? Walk yourself through this decision-making flow. Demographic match. Were students like mine included in the research? Were English learners or students with disabilities part of the sample? Environmental match. Is the research setting comparable to where I teach? A practice validated in one context may need adjustment in another. Standards alignment. Does this align with my state and district standards? Resource feasibility. Do I have the materials, the time, and the training to implement this with fidelity? If the answer to any of these is no, that doesn't necessarily mean you discard the practice. It means you adapt it thoughtfully, or you keep searching for a better fit. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. We don't yet have enough EBPs to cover every situation for every learner. There will be times when you search and can't find a perfect match. That's okay. When you hit that wall, you reach for the next strongest evidence. Promising practices are your first stop. Research shows positive effects, even if the studies are limited. It's a logical, defensible next step over guesswork. Single-case designs are especially valuable for learners with low-incidence disabilities, where large group research simply isn't possible. These individualized study designs carry real weight in the field. You're not failing when there's no perfect EBP. You're being a thoughtful, ethical educator by reaching for the best available evidence. And we come to our final thought, and I want this one to really land. Teaching is a culture of continuous improvement. It always has been and always will be. As you build your career, I want to encourage you to resist the pull to teach how it's always been done, or to rely purely on what felt right to you as a student. Your personal experience is valuable, but it's not enough on its own. Rely on the blueprint. Use evidence-based practices to ensure that every instructional minute counts toward student success. Your students are counting on you to make the best possible choices for them, and now you have the tools to do exactly that. Thank you for being here today, and for choosing a profession that matters so deeply. As you move forward, remember, the blueprint exists to give you confidence. When you step into your classroom, you are not guessing. You have research behind you, professional wisdom guiding you, and your students' needs anchoring every decision. Be the educator who asks, where's the evidence? Because your students deserve nothing less. Rely on the blueprint, and go build something wonderful. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to see new videos as soon as they are published.